Summary of the Engagement Party, a novel written by Darby Kane. Chapter 1, Book Notes, Lost and Found. Emily Hunt's disappearance on the Saturday of her college graduation weekend sent shockwaves through the small town. A young woman with a magnetic personality, a dream of becoming an investigative reporter, and a promising future ahead of her, Emily's absence went unnoticed until Sunday afternoon. Her blonde hair, big brown eyes, and a soulful laugh that could light up any room made her an unlikely candidate to blend into the background. Fresh out of college, Emily had aspirations of breaking big stories, earning awards, and conducting splashy interviews. However, her ambition was tempered by a lack of patience and the drive required for the tedious, day-to-day grind of investigative journalism. The prospect of dealing with stockpiles of phone calls, messages, and notoriously unreliable pay seemed daunting to her. Little did she know that her dreams would be cut short in a way she never anticipated. When news of Emily's disappearance broke, local police and college officials were quick to attribute it to alcohol, seizing the opportunity to lecture the public about the dangers of binge drinking and excessive partying on college campuses. Microphones were grabbed at press conferences, and men in business suits and uniforms shook their heads, emphasizing the need for responsibility. In the blink of an eye, Emily transformed from a young woman with a promising future to a cautionary tale. The college president, in a swift pivot, blamed fraternities and sororities for the incident, even though neither institution played a role in Emily's disappearance. The presumption of innocence she once enjoyed was now forfeited because she failed to show up at her parents' planned celebration lunch. Rumors circulated about her behavior at a recent party, with whispers carrying a hint of reprimand. However, the truth was elusive, and attempts to fit her story into a simplistic continuum between smart choices and tragedy proved futile. The mystery deepened as rumors and speculations overshadowed the obvious details surrounding Emily's disappearance. Her car remained untouched in the school parking lot, her purse lay upended at the campus's Museum of Art, and her cracked cell phone was abandoned nearby. As hours turned into days, panic set in, leading to the formation of a search party that included both official figures and supposed friends who barely knew Emily but were eager to share half-truths disguised as secrets for fleeting fame. Monday night brought a grim discovery as a couple in their 60s, boating in the area, stumbled upon Emily's body. Located 4 miles from campus, partially clothed and entangled in weeds in the New Meadows River, Emily's fate took a tragic turn. At only 22, she had been a college graduate for a mere afternoon. The water that surrounded her cleansed her of the crisis-manufactured guilt, shifting her role from the cause of her own demise to a beloved victim, forever enshrined as young and beautiful. However, Emily's death was not an accident or a result of alcohol, it was murder. The sad irony of the situation lingered. None of this would have happened if she had achieved her dream of attending Amherst. The promising beginning of her adult life had morphed into a winding and tragic tale, leaving the town in shock and mourning. As the investigation into Emily's murder unfolded, the community grappled with the realization that their assumptions about her disappearance had been tragically misguided. The initial blame placed on alcohol and partying gave way to a more sinister reality. Emily's vibrant personality, dreams, and potential were cut short by someone with a nefarious agenda. The details of the investigation painted a chilling picture of a life extinguished too soon. Emily's murder became a stark reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and the veneer of a small town's innocence can hide dark secrets. The once vibrant young woman, full of aspirations and dreams, was now a victim, and the community struggled to come to terms with the loss. In the aftermath of Emily's murder, questions lingered about who could commit such a heinous act and what might have transpired if she had realized her dream of attending Amherst. The tragedy served as a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictable nature of fate. The town, forever changed by Emily's untimely death, faced the challenge of healing and seeking justice for a young woman who had so much life left to live. Chapter 2, Sierra. Sierra Prescott groaned as she pushed open the door to her cluttered office. The sight that greeted her was enough to make her wish she had stayed out in the field, knee-deep in the landscaping job for the new boutique hotel in Rockport. Stacks of unshuffled bids, bills, and invoices swamped her desk, threatening to engulf her in a sea of paperwork. If she squinted hard enough, She could almost make out the glass holding down the important scraps of paper, her computer password, a lifeline in the chaos. Privacy issues be damned. Her business partner, Mitch Anderson, insisted on swapping out intricate strings of numbers, letters, random capitals, and nonsense symbols every month. He was a safety guy, always 35 but living in a perpetual bunker. Worried about everything. A hint of potential trouble in every piece of fantastic news. It wasn't a surprise, given his background. Skepticism was a survival mechanism. Sierra had just returned from the 9-day landscaping job, the ache in her knees yet to subside. She decided to switch to desk work, a decision that seemed increasingly questionable as she surveyed the paperwork carnage. "Mitch?" she called out, hoping he was somewhere within shouting distance in their empty office suite. Rational people would be at home, enjoying their weekends with kids and puppies. But she and Mitch, both single and living alone, were dedicated workaholics. Filing paperwork only seemed to happen when the threat of being buried alive in overdue bills became too real. "Hey!" Mitch's voice echoed as he appeared in the doorway, his entire greeting wrapped up in that one word. He wore jeans and a zip-up sweater, ready to combat the cooling September winds. His brown hair had that ruffled, don't own a mirror, look, and he exuded a casual charm that made him a mix of the boy next door and a hot single dad on the playground. His lazy smile kicked up on one side without much emotion behind it. Raised by a psychopath, he had learned to navigate emotional landmines early in life. Sierra picked up a crumpled postcard by her foot and held it in the air. "Is this garbage, or were you playing some basketball game, using the trash can?" "Garbage," Mitch replied, his tone indicating there might be a problem. Sierra unrolled the paper to find an invitation addressed to Mitchell Anderson with a handwritten note on the side. "We expect you to be here." She didn't need to ask who W was. Though she had only spoken to him on the phone, she knew all about Will Mayer, Mitch's college friend and part of a supposedly unbreakable group of friends that shattered 12 years ago. A topic Mitch rarely discussed. "Will's getting married," she announced, as if Mitch hadn't read the card before discarding it. "To someone named Ruthie Simmons." Aha, I wonder if her parents actually named her Ruthie or just Ruth. Mitch remained silent, so Sierra continued, "Weirdly, it's a printed invite to an informal get-together happening in 3 weeks. A call would have made more sense, but the event is clearly low-key." She pointed at the card. "Says so right here. I don't know, Ruthie, you're a few seconds behind here, and I'm guessing that's on purpose." Intrigued, she unrolled the paper to find additional handwriting at the bottom about a guest. "I missed that part. And I vowed never to step foot in Maine again, so we're even." The impact of the moment hit Sierra. Her enthusiasm for the engagement party had ignored Mitch's distress and trampled over his trauma. She hadn't meant to do either. "You know what? Ignore me. I wasn't thinking about..." The right words eluded her. She didn't want to mention murder or police, so she just stopped talking. Mitch shrugged again. "We're going. Pack a sweater and whatever weapon makes you feel safe at night. My experience is you'll need both." The invitation now said it was for 2. And Sierra couldn't shake the feeling that they were both bringing more than just themselves to this event. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparations and awkward conversations. Sierra tried her best to be supportive without digging too deep into Mitch's painful past. She knew he hadn't been back to Maine since college graduation, avoiding a place that held memories he'd rather forget. As the day of the engagement party approached, Sierra found herself torn between excitement and concern. She wanted Mitch to face his past, reconnect with old friends, and maybe create some positive memories. However, she couldn't ignore the fact that they were walking into a situation loaded with emotional landmines. On the day of the event, they found themselves on a plane bound for Maine. Mitch stared out the window, lost in thought, while Sierra tried to lighten the mood with small talk. The tension between them was palpable, a mixture of anticipation and unspoken fears. When they arrived, the air was thick with nostalgia and the crisp scent of pine. The engagement party was held at a charming venue overlooking the ocean. Old friends and acquaintances greeted Mitch warmly, but his responses were guarded and distant. Sierra observed the interactions, sensing the weight of Mitch's memories in every handshake and exchanged glance. As the evening progressed, she nudged him to reconnect with Will and the others. It was a delicate dance between pushing too hard and providing the support he needed. As they mingled, Mitch's guard began to lower. He shared a few laughs with old friends, reminisced about college escapades, and even smiled genuinely. Sierra watched with a mix of relief and pride. Maybe this was the turning point he needed. When Mitch was finally alone with Sierra, he looked at her with gratitude in his eyes. "Thanks for pushing me to come here. It wasn't easy, but I needed to face it." Sierra smiled, her heart swelling with affection. "You're stronger than you think, Mitch. Sometimes revisiting the past can help us heal." He nodded, his gaze distant for a moment. "Maybe you're right." As the night unfolded, Sierra and Mitch danced around the painful memories and embraced the joy of the present. They left the engagement party with a sense of closure and a shared understanding that some wounds, though deep, could be confronted and, with time, healed. As they boarded the plane back home, Sierra couldn't help but feel a renewed connection with Mitch. They had faced the ghosts of the past together, and it had brought them closer. The journey had been tough, but sometimes, confronting the shadows was the only way to let the light in. Chapter 3. Alex. In a suburban kitchen, Alex finds himself in a predicament when an invitation he discarded resurfaces, either through some mysterious force or because his wife, Cassie, found it. Their names, Alexander and Cassandra Green, on the invitation trigger unease in Alex, setting the stage for a tense conversation. The couple, both lawyers, operates a successful firm in Providence, sharing not only their professional but also their personal lives. However, an undisclosed decade-old secret threatens to unravel everything. Alex, holding up the postcard, attempts to convey the gravity of his decision to discard it. Cassie, undeterred, explains that she retrieved it from the trash. The invitation seems to hold the key to a party, an event Alex vehemently believes they should avoid. His concern is met with Cassie's calm acknowledgement, as if this were a recurring argument. Their relationship is painted with complexities. Love mingled with resentment. Physical attraction, once overpowering, has settled into a simmering state, occasionally flaring up. Alex grapples with conflicting emotions, torn between loving Cassie and harboring a sense of resentment towards her. Cassie, confident and put together, contrasts sharply with her upbringing in poverty and fear. Their life together has been meticulously planned, with a daughter named Zara arriving precisely according to Cassie's timeline. Zara, now almost 4, becomes a pivotal reason for Alex's desire to move forward and away from the shadows of their past. He implores Cassie to reconsider attending the party in Maine, emphasizing the potential dangers of revisiting a place fraught with unresolved issues. Cassie, however, adopts a nonchalant attitude, dismissing Alex's concerns as unromantic. She attempts to lure him into the event with flirtation, a tactic that has lost its charm for Alex, who wishes he could free himself from the love and fear that binds him to Cassie. He questions her calmness, prompting a softer response from Cassie, who insists the gathering is a small, harmless reunion with old friends. Amidst their conversation, the narrative delves into their shared history at Bowdoin College. What was once a dream school turned into a nightmare during graduation weekend, leaving scars that still haunt them. They had managed to escape, but not everyone in their group was as fortunate. The tension escalates as Alex touches on the potential pitfalls of attending the party. Cassie, undeterred, argues that not going could be more dangerous, asserting that they can't control the conversation if they're not present. As they grapple with the decision, Zara's voice interrupts, a reminder of the responsibility they share. The couple's disagreement intensifies, and Alex, torn between family and his unresolved emotions, warns Cassie that the conversation isn't over. Cassie, seemingly unfazed, urges him to focus on being a father while she takes charge of the travel arrangements, confident in her ability to contain any potential damage. The narrative provides a glimpse into a marriage hanging by delicate threads, burdened by secrets, unspoken resentments, and the weight of carefully constructed lives. The impending trip to Maine becomes a battleground where the couple must confront their shared past and the potential unraveling of the life they've built together. The story sets the stage for a complex exploration of love, loyalty, and the haunting power of unresolved history.